I just finished watching The Polygamist and I want to give a logical review. Not an emotional one, a logical review. So this is a trigger warning for everyone who has concluded that Jonas is the only villain in the whole story. And I would like to suggest that you pause my video because you won't like my logic. First and foremost, Jonas is only a horrible person when it comes to relationships. Other than that, he's what South African society deems as a real man. He has money, he's filthy rich, he has the integrity because he makes sure that everyone he loves is taken care of. Number two, I think Essie is the biggest victim in this whole story. What do you mean that you have to hide that you're Jonas's wife for 20 years and you have to live with that every single day? The kids are giving you issues and you have to stomach all of it. Essie's sorrow is being sidelined by most people because she's not the ideal type of wife most South African women wish to be. They all wish to be the type of wife that's like Joyce. The rich wife, lives in a huge house, drives a G-Wagon, has a social media presence, has a social media life. Remember, there's no Gomorrah family without Essie because she's the one who gave Jonas money to go to university. If he didn't go to university, then there wouldn't be Joyce or the mighty Gomorrah family as a whole. And Essie is also very broken and traumatized because what do you mean you're such a nice and caring person but you're dating a whole gangster, Freedom's father? So I say she's the biggest victim because initially she was number one, but she had to settle for number two for 24 years. When Matipa came into the picture, she eventually became number three because she literally got all the crumbs. She had to pretend that everything is fine, but it wasn't. Even her kids were suffering because of this setup, and she had to stomach all of that food. Thirdly, Joyce is the most wicked out of all the wives and arguably the second most selfish character after Jonas. Because what leads you as a person to wanting to kill? You have to be really, really, really wicked for you to want to kill a person, regardless of what they did to you. And if you're going to justify Joyce trying to kill Jonas just because of what Jonas did to her, then I guess the fight against GBV in South Africa is in vain. So after so many attempts trying to kill Jonas, Joyce eventually succeeded because she hired that HIV-infected woman to come and give Jonas an infection. I won't even talk about Matipe now because she's just a home-wrecking opportunist who thought she was going to get her way but ran when she saw that the going is getting tough. Okay, now, so let's get to the review. Relationship-wise, Jonas is a horrible person. He's a horrible father, he's a horrible husband, he's a horrible boyfriend, etc. And in the end, everyone betrays him, right? His wives get into affairs, some try to kill him, some try to steal money from him. But we can't justify all of that behavior just because Jonas is a horrible person when it comes to relationships. Everyone acts on their own. And if you're going to blame somebody's behavior on someone else, then I guess we can blame Jonas's behavior on someone else as well. Because episode 10 is not only showing us why Jonas is sleeping with Essie and their childhood as a whole, but it's actually showing us why Jonas is the man he is today. That guy was neglected by his family. He really didn't get the love he wanted. He was so neglected. And as a result, he tried finding that love in different women. He had so many girlfriends because he wanted this love he didn't get from his family. And we can all attest that out of all the girlfriends Jonas had as a kid, he ended up choosing Essie because Essie was like a mother figure to him. He didn't get the mother's love he wanted. So if Essie's making him food, protecting him from bullies, comforting him, he ended up falling for her. Jonas even expressed that his father comes back home always drunk. His brother's running the streets. I don't recall him mentioning a mother, but he was really, really crying out for help. And Essie was there to be a shoulder to cry on. And the issue of Essie is bigger than just being Jonas's savior. Essie was an older chick than Jonas. Sugar mama vibes because Jonas was still in school and Essie was already hustling as a hairdresser. In fact, that's where the money for university came from, out of Essie being a hustler. So that's why I said Jonas has integrity, because before going to university, he promised Essie, when I come back, I'm going to buy you your dream car and your dream home. And he did that after he finished university. But now the problem is, whenever you help a man out, he will go out there and find his type. But luckily for Essie, as much as she was neglected, she got married to him. And she got the things she was promised, which was a car and a house. But now Joyce was Jonas's type. But now Joyce being Jonas's type is also arguable because Jonas married Joyce for survival. Joyce's dad was a big shot who gave Jonas the big tender. And I'm pretty sure Jonas only married Joyce for that connection. Survival mode. So now going back to my point, we can't justify other people's actions based on what Jonas did to them. Because Jonas also has a story that he can blame his actions on. So Vele, Jonas was destroyed from a very young age. There was no fixing him as a person. And to back the fact that problems start from your childhood, there's so many young characters in the story and we see their problems starting from the time that they are young. Umpume, who is Joyce's daughter, can't trust men anymore because of a trauma. Her dad is misbehaving and mistreating her mom, plus her boyfriend cheated on her with her sister. So now I was gonna stop trusting men. Umenzi, Joyce's son, becomes like his father in the end because he was neglected as well. He also has trauma. From most of us saying Umenzi is such a dweeb, he's a loser, he's a slow learner, he eventually became like his dad because of his trauma and all the things he saw. He can strangle women now. He's violent. What? Usara gets rejected to the point whereby she sees a person who's been playing the father figure role her whole life as somebody she can date in the end. Remember when she tried kissing Magesh? Maybe that's why some young ladies gravitate towards older men in our society, because they like father figures to them, but they end up dating them, trying to make up for that void. Freedom is a typical example of what most men in South Africa go through. He has no father and he's filled with so much anger inside of him. And there's no point in the story whereby he's trying to seek a relationship with his father. His father, in fact, is not even mentioned. Is not even mentioned after they show that childhood story got Jonas no is. Freedom is broken and his reality is the reality of so many young people in South Africa. Ulindani is from a poor background and she's on survival mode. Uthanda izinto, and she also never got the love of a parent, which is why she also ended up dating an older man. That's also something that happens in South African society a lot. So in a nutshell, all of those young characters are broken from a young age, just like Jonas. And all of that trauma they had determines their character in a few years to come. Umatipe was also probably neglected while growing up, or she just didn't have both parents in her life. Because why wouldn't you see that it's wrong to seduce a man who's married? Why would you feel like it's okay to sleep your way up into positions? Why do you think it's okay to be a home wrecker? Magesh yena is a man with the character that most South African women love, but now wouldn't date him because he's the ice boy. If you could take Magesh's character and put it in Jonas, then he would be the full package of what women want. But now he was the ice boy, and you always get chosen last if you're the ice boy. In that story, when Essie started realizing a lot of things, she said that I should have just married you, Magesh. Magesh has been playing the father figure role for Usara for the longest time, but she eventually chose him in the end as a father figure. But now she eventually saw him as a boyfriend, hence why she tried making that advance on him. She mistook care and a parent's love for affection, for romantic affection. But I don't blame her because she can't differentiate between the two because she never had a father's love. Even Joy started respecting Magesh after Jonas started being a problem. Magesh was just forgot Jonas before all the issues. But he came to save most of those women in the end. It's safe to say that Magesh is the superhero of this whole series actually. So now if we're going to blame Jonas, who has all that trauma, if you're going to blame him for all the other characters' actions, who also have trauma by the way, then I think that's very unfair. And so the reason why I said Joyce is the most wicked out of all the wives and arguably the second most selfish after Jonas is because she attempted killing that man multiple times even though she was given an option to exit that marriage. Yeah, let's not forget that she refused to sign the divorce papers when Jonas offered them. Why did she do that? Because she's an influencer and there's an image she wanted to uphold, and she didn't want to lose the brand ambassadorship. She decided to ignore all the abuse and trauma that she was causing herself and the kids. Lapho she was offered a way out. There's a lot of matipes in society. They believe that indoor they believe in seducing, they believe in sleeping their way up, they believe in sleeping their way into certain rooms. And if you think you can win a man over through your body, then you have it all wrong. Because there's so many bodies in this society. O-S, o-Joyce, o-Lindani, ama-prostitutes lawa bevele eklabhini, ama-strippers, etc., etc. Character can try keep a man. Look at Joyce, for instance. Jonas kept going back to Joyce because of her character. Essie's character is also low-key fine, but now the problem is Essie is not Jonas's type. And Essie is the most damaged and was the first wife to cheat on Jonas. So now in conclusion, Jonas is a horrible person in his own way. But then again, there's also other horrible people in the story. And you're going to say that they did all of those things because of Jonas, but Jonas also had his reasons for doing the things he did. And for most of those characters, it goes back to the trauma and also neglect. This is my logical review that doesn't look only at the romantic side of this whole story, but looks at the whole story. So parents, make sure that your kids are not neglected and they grow up in the right manner and you give them love, because however you raise them up will definitely determine their character in future.